Hello, guys. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach. Welcome to another live feed. So excited to talk about our topic today. This is a really great one. With what we do here, we are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. I've done it. We've helped hundreds of people to do it. It can just be done. We know exactly how to do it. Isn't that fun? And so with ending eating disorders and really with getting out of this cycle and fixing our relationship with food. So let me clarify, with eating disorders, what we're talking about is, we're talking about binge eating, we're talking about bulimia. We're also talking about overeating. We're also talking about body hate. We're also talking about food obsession and counting calories all day long and feeling like you have to earn your food and then make up for the food that you ate and the over-exercising and all of that. Hi, so fun to see you guys. Welcome, welcome. And so with that, we talk about a lot of times the thing that we don't want to do, right? Which is the binging. Like, it feels so awful. It feels so out of integrity. It feels so out of control. But with a cycle, it's something and then something else and something else, then it goes back to the first thing, right? And so one thing that we don't talk about as much is the other side of it, like the compensating, the making up for it. And I know that it makes total sense, right? It's like we binge, we want to do something about it, right? We're good people who feel like we've done a bad thing and we want to fix it. And I totally get it. But when we see that that's actually part of the cycle, that's a really important piece of it, because that's the thing that keeps the cycle going round and round. So whether it's the guilt and shame afterward, whether it's the over-exercising, whether it's the purging, whether it's the spitting, whatever it is, the laxatives, the thing that we're trying to do to make up for the bad thing that we did, right? That is part of the cycle. So we're going to talk about that today. And with really fixing our relationship with exercise. So we're going to talk about 5 ways to exercise that won't give you an eating disorder, because a lot of times this is a big piece of that other cycle. And for you, if it's not exercise, just plug in whatever that is for you, and know that this is some really solid tips about how to shift that relationship and to be able to end that cycle. So let's get into it. And so fun to see you guys on. So feel free to hearts and smileys and comments. And if you've had experience with this, in your own life, feel free to share your own experience or just say hello. It's so fun to see you on. So hello, guys. All right. So again, I'm Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we're ending eating disorders using nothing but our brains. And we're talking about the 5 ways to exercise that will not give you an eating disorder. So here is what ends up happening. I know that we oftentimes start out with a fine relationship with exercise. It's like, okay, like I'm working out, I want to feel good, this is fun, maybe I'll do some classes, maybe I'll join a gym, maybe I'll go for walks with my friends. I know for me, I started out as a yoga enthusiast, and then I became a yoga instructor, and it was something that was really healing and healthy for my life, and I just, loved it, and I had this really great relationship with it because I was just doing it because I wanted to be healthier, because I wanted to feel good. It was with very sort of pure intent. And then what happened is that weight loss came into play, right? It's like, oh, that's a way to lose weight. That's a way to burn calories, right? Like, that's a very common thing. It's like, okay, well, we've got to, make up for some food we ate. We got to burn some calories. And so that starts coming in. And it's never easier to lose weight than the first time that you lose weight, because it's sort of this shock for your body of like, oh, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. And you drop the weight and you're like, oh, okay, I'm eating healthier, I'm exercising, and then we drop some weight. And then we're in the cycle. Then we start getting the weight back, as people do 98% of the time. Think of all of the amazing, accomplished people all over the world that can do all sorts of things in their life, that can make all sorts of accomplishments, that can be so completely successful. It's those people that 98% of the time are gaining their weight back. So let's examine this. I wonder what's going on there. I wonder why so many people are saying this is working when it has a 98% failure rate. Okay, all right. Well, let's just leave that there for a minute. But we get into this cycle of now exercise isn't just exercise. Exercise is something where you are putting into the cycle of weight loss or weight maintenance, right? So okay, we're gaining the weight back, we better exercise more, right? We better, be able to get back to that place. It's always about getting back to that place, or, going to that magic number again. And, oh, it was so easy the first time, I'm sure that we can do it again. And so we start doing more and more with exercise because we're trying to make up for it. And we wonder why it's harder this time. We wonder why, when before we were just doing some, light exercise that made us feel good and it really helped us to lose the weight. And now we're doing the exact same thing. Here's a really important piece, you guys. This is an important piece to notice in the pattern. We're doing the exact same thing, but we're not getting the same results. Oh, why doesn't that work anymore? Okay, well, I guess I just need to exercise more. And I guess I need to eat less. Do you see where this is going? We have to exercise more and we have to eat less to get the same result that we did before. And that's a really important sign to look for of when you're starting to get into the cycle, because it gets more extreme on both ends. And the weight loss is getting harder and you have to do more workout to get the same results. And then, the thinness starts becoming a priority. And then you're exercising to burn calories. That becomes the motivation for it. And so I know with me, I let go of the things that I loved, like yoga, because it didn't burn enough calories in my mind. And so we've got to do more extreme things. Okay, well, now we're going to be a runner. Now we're going to get into running. Running burns more calories. Well, how can we make running burn even more calories? Because that's not working anymore, right? Running doesn't burn enough calories. Okay, well, let's do high intensity training. Let's do, intervals when we're running. Let's keep on upping the ante to be able to burn more calories. And then the binging starts. Because remember, you're having to exercise more and you're having to eat less. And then you eat less for long enough that your body starts fighting back and you have your first binge. And then it's an emergency. Then exercise isn't to burn calories. Exercise is to frantically make up for this horrible thing that you did, which with all of your work and all of your efforts, you ate thousands and thousands of calories late at night, and it was the worst kind of food that you would never allow yourself to have. And now you're making up for that. Now you're working off a binge. And I know that I got to the point where I would binge the night before and I would feel so awful the next day. But there was no option, right? Like, you've got to make up for that. So I would run and I would run and I would run for miles and miles, still being incredibly full, with my skin just stretched out from all of the food that I ate the night before. It was like running, with a bowling ball underneath your skin. And it was painful and it was awful. But all you got to do is run and run and run and run in high intensity intervals. And then you get hurt. I injured my foot. But it felt so scary to not do something to make up for the binge that I kept running on an injured foot. And so it was painful for multiple reasons. It was painful because I was lethargic from binging. It was painful because I was physically in pain from binging. It was painful because I had injured my foot, but I kept running and I kept doing intervals and I kept doing more, because it was that thing that I was chasing of, like, I'm just going to make up for this. I'm just going to get back to even. I'm just going to get back to ground zero. I'm just going to make up for this thing that I did so that I can have a fresh start. And then it would start over again and I would binge again. And it was even worse. And then the binging keeps getting worse. So notice how you're eating less and less. You're working out more and more. Then you start binging. So you have to work out even more. And then you start binging even more. So you have to work out even more. And it turns into this really out of control cycle. And that was my out, right? Of like, okay, I've just got to exercise enough, burn enough calories. But it turned into a really scary thing. And then especially during the holidays, right? Like where, there was more food around and, my binging got even worse, and I'm going to parties and I feel out of control, and, I'm not eating at the parties and I'm binging at home, or I am binging at the parties and then I'm trying to work it off the next day. And I know that it was, we had a whole bunch of family in the house for, over the holidays, and everyone would stay up late and talk and have amazing memories together. And I would go to bed early. Because what I knew that I had to do, I'm going to put that in quotes, had to do, was because of the way that I was eating. And because for some reason I had a body that I was super confused about, that I could just eat one cookie and gain this weight when I used to be able to eat 5 cookies and have no effect. But now everything had gotten out of whack and my metabolism was, ruined. It was one of these things where everyone else was having a piece of pie. But if I did, it was, all right, good night, family. Have fun staying up and making memories and being around the tree. I'm going to go to bed early so that I can wake up super early before anyone else and run and run and run and do these workouts all alone in the cold weather, and then just come back and hope that I would get through that day without binging. And then would all start over again. So not only was I missing out on all of this time with my family and all of these important memories, but I was literally just hurting myself more and more. But I didn't know how to get out of the cycle. And then, it's this form of bulimia. So a lot of times we don't think of it because, oh, maybe we're not purging or we can't throw up our food, right? But, for me, I couldn't throw up my food at the time. And so that was my only out, right? Like that's what I had to do. And I didn't think of it as bulimia at the time. That's exactly what it was. You're binging and then you're trying to make up for it in some way. And that way I was making up for it was to just keep exercising. Now, the thing that happens after a while is that your body cannot keep going like this. As you go to more and more extremes, as you're having to eat less, and then you're binging, and then you're having to work out more, and then you're making up for the binge with the workouts, you cannot keep going like this. It is not a sustainable thing. Some people can sustain it longer than other people. Some people can, take more damage to their body than other people. Some people's metabolisms last a little longer than other people. But what happens is you run into a point where there is permanent damage that you cannot undo. I still cannot run. My foot is so injured, I still cannot run. And you know what? Maybe there's some solution out there where I'll be able to run again. That would be cool. I think that would be nice. But the thing is that we experiment with these maybes of, oh, okay, well, this is awful right now, but I'm sure there's some way that it's going to get better. There's some way that I'm going to make up for it. And so we keep going. But there are things that you cannot fix. There are things that you cannot repair. There are set points in your weight that you cannot change, that are permanently going to be higher. There are metabolisms that cannot be fixed once you break them. Like there are things that cannot be undone after a while. And so that's when the permanent damage starts. And then you get to a point where you can't work out anymore, where your body doesn't let you, where you either get so injured or you've gained so much rapid weight from the binging that the inflammation on your joints and all the weight is something where you're not able to do what you used to do. If you used to run, well, you can't do that anymore. And then you swim and then you can't do that anymore. And then, you start having all of this permanent damage to your health where your body shuts you down and stops. And then the binging is still going. It's not like once you can't work out anymore, then the binging stops. The binging gets worse because now you're more emotionally depressed and now you're feeling more out of control and now, things are worse than ever. And so the binging gets worse, but now you can't work out anymore. And that's when the rapid weight gain starts. We've coached people who are gaining 10 pounds a week when they used to be fit and healthy and had everything under control. But this very same cycle took their body to a place where they were gaining 10 pounds a week, because that's what happens with your metabolism and that's what happens with this cycle. And so the rapid weight gain starts, your set point weight goes up and up, and there are things that you cannot fix with that permanent damage. And so with this relationship with exercise, let's talk about 5 ways to exercise that won't give you an eating disorder, that is exercise for the sake of exercise and for the sake of health and for all of those great things that exercise can be when it's not a compensating behavior. So number 1, to be stronger. I want to be able to lift the groceries out of my car and it's no big deal. I want to be able to move around the furniture in my house. I want to be able to just feel strong. I want to be able to have muscles. I want to be able to pick up my kids and it's just like an easy thing to do and, go to the park and pull myself up on the equipment and, have fun memories with my family. To be stronger. Because it's a fun feeling to be strong. It's a fun feeling to be able to have muscles. It's something that's so important for our metabolism, for our life, for our health, to have muscles that are strong. And so one thing is just to be stronger. 2, for your health, but not related to your weight. Now, when you can focus on what this exercise is doing for your health, that's an important piece, because as soon as it gets into that cycle of we're making up for a binge or we're doing this to lose weight, then it's something that is really damaging and part of perpetuating that cycle. So I'm talking about health, like you can be healthy at any weight. You can be healthier at whatever weight you're at. So remember that. And health, like this is making my lungs strong. This is making my heart strong. This is making, the impact, that the exercise is giving me, is strengthening my bones. This is something that is helping me to be able to, be healthy for the long term, to be able to still be active and agile, 10, 20, 30 years from now. The focus on health, like real health, and not the illusion of health through what our society says it is, which is thinness. The thinner you are, the healthier you are. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. And that has been, proven time and time over. There's a lot to back that up, but that's so important. So number 2 is for your health, but not related to your weight. The third is for your emotional health. Exercise does amazing things for your brain chemicals. It does amazing things for depression, anxiety, being able to get your heart rate up, be able to accomplish something, be able to, go and, be part of, other people doing the same thing, taking a class, going, having a yoga class where, everyone is moving together. Like there's sort of this, community, this tribe. It's an amazing thing for your emotional health as well. So that's another piece of exercise that is outside of that cycle that really helps us to be able to focus on what exercise can be that doesn't perpetuate that same cycle. So the fourth one, for fun. When was the last time that you moved your body just for fun? Where you were dancing in your kitchen, where you went out dancing, where you took a class to do some new cool thing, where you're like, oh, wow, acro yoga. Wouldn't that be an interesting thing? Wow, pole dancing. Wouldn't that be interesting? Like, oh, wow, doing some like race where we're crawling through the mud and jumping over walls. And, what if we did that? What if it was fun? What if that was the main focus of your exercise, was to be able to have fun, to be able to have a really cool, fun experience? And then number 5, one of these really powerful ones, which ties into identity, is just because it's what you do. You're somebody who works out. You're somebody who does healthy stuff. You're somebody who moves your body. You're somebody who goes for walks. That identity piece of it's just what you do. So to review, 1, to be stronger. 2, for your health outside of weight loss. 3, for your emotional health. 4, for fun. And 5, for it's just what you do. It's your identity. You're somebody who's healthy. You're somebody who works out. You're somebody who takes care of their bodies. And these are amazing ways to focus on exercise that don't perpetuate that eating disorder cycle and that compensating behavior. But it is really difficult to be able to focus on these things while we're still binge eating, while we're still in the disordered eating. So if there's one biggest tip of all, it's that you've got to be able to stop having to make up for anything by stop having something to make up for, which means ending the disordered eating, ending the binge eating, because it's hard to get out of the cycle when you're still trying to make up for it. So that's really where the healing comes, is you end the binge eating and you fix the disordered eating first. And then you can move into this healthier relationship with exercise because you take out all of these variables of all of this fear of well, but I have to do something, right? So number 1 is to end the disordered eating. And if you want help with that, that's exactly what we do. You can have a free session with us. You can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply, and we're going to help you to get that foundation of freedom, to really get you on the right path, to be able to move toward a relationship with food that you can enjoy and you can love and you can be proud of for the rest of your life. So you can fix your relationship with exercise or whatever else was part of this cycle. Because when you end the cycle, then you end all of it. So you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply. And what we're going to do is, grab a spot on the calendar. They go very quickly. You might need to get on the waiting list if there isn't a spot right now, because they do go very quickly. But we're going to help you to get the foundation of freedom, which is clarity about really what this specific cycle is for you right now and how it's impacting you. And then really your vision for freedom of what it is on the other side, because that's something that our brain doesn't connect to when we're just trying to keep our head above water. So that's why it's so important. It's sort of like a GPS, like you have to have both points, and then we can help you to fill in the gaps to be able to get you to that place. But you've got to understand what's going on first, because you can't fix a problem that you don't understand. So it's a really important piece, and we're here to help you to do that. And you can book a free session with us at lifewithlydia.com/apply. And I hope you guys are enjoying these live feeds. It's so fun to see you here. Thank you so much for all your support and your comments, and so much fun. So we will see you guys soon. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off. Bye.